What's good, everybody? It's Mike Reed, and welcome to My Life Ministries, where leadership, influence, faith, and evolvement are the principles that we look to live by every single day. And by us living those principles, it helps us to help youth become motivated young leaders who implement faith in their lives every day as well. Today, I'm going to be coming from Matthew 6, verse 11. And what it says is, "Give us today our daily bread." Give us today our daily bread. And what the title of my message today I want to use is "No Days Off." And when I was reading, I was just kind of reading through the Lord's Prayer, and that portion of it stuck out to me. And the reason why the title "No Days Off" came to me is because sometimes we cannot allow the joy of the Lord that we carry and allow the presence of God that we carry cause us to take a day off from Him, because we feel that we are so full in God, and we feel like, God has been speaking to us in a certain way, or we feel like, God has shown us something, or we're so busy living off of what we may have heard yesterday, or what we may have heard a week ago, or what we may have heard on Sunday, or just a message or something that somebody may have encouraged us with, so we hold on to that word. Now, there's nothing wrong with holding on to the word that God has given you. There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong with remembering the things that God has spoke to you, even going back, looking in your journal, and maybe reading something for encouragement, just to give you somewhat of a reminder of how good God is, or some of the things that God may have promised you. But what we cannot allow ourselves to do is get to a place to where we stick to what God has said, and we take days off to discover something new in our walk with God, and we take days off to discover what God is trying to tell us in the moment that we are in now. So when we ask God to give us our daily bread, we're asking God to give us our portion for this particular day, and every day we need a different portion. Every day we need a fresh anointing. We need a fresh wind. We need a fresh move from God, so that we will understand how to handle the day that He's allowed us to wake up and place us in. So what happens is sometimes we get comfortable, and when we get comfortable with God, we feel good in God, and by us feeling good in God, everything is going right in our lives. We haven't stressed, we haven't worried. Our bank accounts may look right. Bills are paid on time. Your children are acting great in school, or acting great at home. So you just feel like life is just going so well, and you can't have it any better than that. So what happens is that because we're not thinking of these adversities that we may have faced in the past, or we aren't thinking about these circumstances that may have came across to us in the past, we find ourselves feeling really good, and we're standing on that word when it says that the joy of the Lord is my strength, and we're holding on to that, and all of that is good. But sometimes it can cause us to kind of lack, to the point to where we kind of separate ourselves from God without understanding that we're separating ourselves from God, because we feel like we're so full in who God is. So the one thing that we have to understand is that don't get comfortable just because you're gaining strength with God. Because the more strength that you gain in God, you're going to feel complete. And when you feel complete, because you're reading, and you're praying, and you're talking to God, you're going to feel great. You're going to feel like, God, I'm in a great place with you, and you feel comfortable. But we cannot allow that comfort to cause us to think that the strength that we have is keeping us safe, just because we feel good in who God is. When you think that you are strong, remember that weakness is around the corner. Remember, in order to stay strong, you have to continue to build your muscle. And I began to think about the gym. And when you go to the gym, if you are lifting a lot of weights, you put on muscle by lifting weights, and if you're eating a lot of protein, or depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, in the gym. If you're trying to diet, you're watching what you eat, you're watching your figure, you're watching what carbs you put in your body, what calories, whatever the case may be. But the moment that you go and you take a day off from the gym, whether it's 1 day, whether it's 2 days, 3 days, the moment that you take a day off from your diet, however many days it is, you are going to start seeing some type of decline in your body. You are going to start seeing some type of decline in your health. So if you sit back and you're used to eating extremely lean in your diet, and you go and now you're eating more carbs than you normally do, or you're eating more calories than you normally do, you might gain 5 to 6 pounds within that week. If you are used to going to the gym Monday through Friday and you're working out every body part, if you don't go to the gym on Monday through Friday, your body, it might become soft. You might start seeing some of your muscles droop, to the point to where you're gonna start seeing some type of decline. So it's the same way with our relationship with God. We can't sit back and go off of the pump that we get, from the pump that we got from last week, and think that everything during the next week is going to be okay. We can never take days off, and we can never allow ourselves to be so comfortable with who God is that we forget about who God is, and we forget about that it's a continuous thing for us to be able to walk with God and to develop with Him every single day. Because when God kisses us on our cheek and He wakes us up in the morning, He's waking us up in the morning because He's looking forward to our conversation. He's looking forward to our day, and He's like, okay, now that my child is up, now I can speak to her or him on what I have for him. I can continue the conversation that we had yesterday, or and now we can talk about things that I've been wanting to share with him or share with her. But when we wake up in the morning and we feel like everything is okay, and we begin to put other things ahead of God, we're forgetting about Him. And then before you know it, because we feel so good, a day may have went by, when the day before, we were praying and we were worshiping, but this day, hey, I didn't turn on my worship music, the same that I did the day before. I didn't pray the same that I did the day before. I didn't read my word the same that I did the day before. So in other words, what that's doing is you're taking time off, and we cannot afford to take time off when we are walking with God, because what happens is that gives the devil room to move in. So we have to remember that the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So when he comes to kill, steal, and destroy, he's waiting for that open opportunity for him to be able to come in and snatch you out of that. And understand that, see, the devil likes to tempt you, and he will tempt you to make you feel like you are okay in God, because you feel full in God. And he'll tempt you to say, well, you know what, hey, you don't need to pray today. You don't need to do this today. And you don't want the devil to come in and cause those types of feelings in you, and then you feel like you're okay. So you have to be able to use discernment to the point to where you understand that the devil may try to tempt you, and he may try to trick you to make you feel like you have your full and you have enough, so you don't need to continue to seek God. Because the moment that you forget about God and you take a day off from God, that's the moment that you become extremely weak. And you may not see that weakness at that moment because you feel so good, but as time goes, you're going to start seeing that decline in your relationship. You're going to start seeing that decline in yourself. You're going to start feeling like, man, why, I was thinking this way the other day, and, I found myself, thinking on something that I shouldn't have. I found myself, arguing with somebody in a way that I shouldn't have. I found myself having all of these crazy type of thoughts in my mind when I know that I shouldn't have been thinking that way. And that's all because you're taking a day off. So when we say give us our daily bread, we're asking God to give us our portion for today. Give us our meal for today. Give us our protein for the day, because we want to continue to build that muscle in God. We want to continue to build our strength in God, because we want to continue to grow in God. So we know we have no time to take no days off. We can't skip days, in our spiritual gym. We cannot skip days in our spiritual gym. We have to continue to work out every body part. We have to continue to stick to our diet. We have to continue to stay on the clock when it comes to God. We cannot allow that. We cannot allow ourselves to take on unnecessary weight. So if you're putting these certain things into your body and you're taking on that extra 5 or 6 pounds, you don't need that. So you have to make sure that you're eating the right things. You have to make sure that you're reading the right things. You have to make sure that you're doing the right things. You got to follow suit with the plan that God has for you. You cannot allow yourself to take any days off because it's dangerous. So I just wanted to get on here and I just wanted to encourage somebody to don't take days off. Never take days off. Continue to stay focused. Continue to follow God the way that you're supposed to follow God, and don't allow the enemy to trick you to make you feel like you have enough of God, because that right there, that's a door that it's real tricky, because you feel good in your walk, but the moment that you feel like you have enough, believe me, you don't. And that's the enemy trying to let you know that you have enough of God, because you can never have enough of God. God has so much in store that he wants to share, that he wants to explain, that he wants to talk to you about. There's no limits to what God has for you. There's no limits to what he wants to share for you. So never take a day off from God, no matter what it is, no matter how much God has blessed you. Never take a day off from God, and never take on unnecessary weight, and allow God to give you your daily bread. Allow him to give you your portion, because you need it. Never allow your muscles to be weak. Stay on the clock with God and allow God to move in your life. No days off. So I just wanted to get on here and just encourage somebody. You guys stay blessed. You guys stay focused and let God move in you, and keep it going. Keep it going, because God wants to do so much in your life. But don't stay away from him. Don't run away from him. No days off. You guys be blessed.